I guess I should turn the music off first. Hey, you guys, welcome. Welcome to our Tuesday night continuing education class. We are on class number 1. I'm excited that you guys are here to join us. As you can see from the screen, this class is being recorded. And if you are interested in getting the recording, make sure you reach out to the person who invited you here. You can also find us on our YouTube channel, and I'll give those details at the end of class. We have a great opportunity for you to ask your questions and share your testimonials at the end of class. If you have anything that comes up while I'm teaching, go ahead and put that in the chat. We have people here who can answer those questions. And of course, we want you to be interactive. Why don't we go ahead and get started by telling where you live in the chat. And then it's fun. It's fun for us to be able to see people from all over the place. And we also have these classes, you guys, every Monday and Tuesday live on Zoom. And like I said, all of them are being recorded. So you'll be able to get those if you miss one or have a friend or somebody who is interested in getting the information once you hear it. Okay, we have 8 different classes. We are at the top of the class schedule. So this is number 1. We're going to be talking about essential oils, how to use them, and how to stay safe with using them. You can see next week we'll be talking about daily vitality. So this is our foundational supplement class, and I absolutely love it. I wouldn't go a day without my supplements, and I'm so grateful for them. Okay, so you guys, everybody is pretty much aware of the modern approach to medicine and how I'm sure if you have been around for very long or if you've had any kind of an experience when you go to the doctor for whatever reason, normally what happens is you go in, they get you something to manage the symptoms, but they don't really get into what's the root cause, what's causing the discomfort or whatever is happening. The other thing is that when you go and they give you something, a lot of times then you need something else. And then you need something else. And it's just like this ongoing roller coaster of what was I actually taking this for? And are some of the side effects from them worse than what I'm actually dealing with? Now, a lot of times we don't even know what the side effects are. And it's interesting to know that $6.5 trillion is spent yearly on global health care. Well, I'm here to tell you guys that we've got some really great solutions, and I can't imagine what my life would be today if I hadn't been introduced to doTERRA many, many years ago. And so now when we compare it to our natural approach, our body actually accepts essential oils, doTERRA, because they are all natural. So in some cases, our bodies may reject a medication or you may have a medication for a little while, and then pretty soon you're going back and the doctor's checking you and they're going, well, it's not working anymore. We need to change it to this. And especially people who have had issues with thyroid, you'll understand where every 6 months you go in and you get it checked and they have a new medication for you each time because your body literally is putting up its natural guard saying, nope, not letting you in. And so what I also love about natural approach is we want to go in and find out what the root cause is. We want to find out what's causing, the tension in your head, what's causing the ache in your belly. And so by being able to do that, what I also love is even if we have the wrong essential oil, it's not going to cause any bad side effects. Essential oils are natural extracts from plants, and they naturally grow with certain things that benefit each of us from the way that they are in nature. And so I love it. When I use essential oils, I know that I'm not going to experience a bad side effect. I'm going to actually get a side benefit. Okay, so there is something different about doTERRA, and you'll probably, if you've been here for longer than a hot minute, you'll agree that every time you crack open that bottle and you put it into your hands, you know that it has been tested. There are no fillers no synthetics, there's no dilution, there's nothing that's been added to it that could cause our body some harm. Each one of them, like I said, is plant grown, and what I love is doTERRA has CPTG, which stands for Certified Pure Tested Grade Essential Oil. Every single bottle has that stamp on it, and you know that you can trust that it's been grown in its natural environment, which if you guys live, depending on where you live, you'll be able to relate to this story, is if you have tomatoes. We in Nevada, we have a very short growing season. And so we get a lot of tomatoes that are brought into our town. And sometimes you guys will go to cut a tomato from the grocery store and it's not even red, it's more pink. And they take these tomatoes before they're even ripened on the vine, and they actually add color and dyes and things to them. Can you only imagine what the effect is on your body? Like, it's horrible. And so I love that doTERRA also does over 54 tests to ensure the purity and the potency of each essential oil. So that means that when they have the plant growing, they actually test the soil that the plant is grown in to make sure there's no contaminants, no pesticides, nothing's been added to the soil that could cause any harm. Because what's in the soil, that's where the plant gets its nutrients. And so then once we take the oil out of the plant, if it's been exposed to some kind of pesticide or chemical, guess what? It's in that oil now. And so they also test it as they put it into, the different distillation processes and the different containers, because, if you take a pan and maybe you've boiled pasta in it or something, and you just kind of rinse it out a little bit, you might put a little soap in there and rinse it around a little, and there could be some soap residue in there, even if you're rinsing it out pretty good. So doTERRA makes sure that they're testing the essential oil even after it goes in through these different processes to make sure that there haven't been any chemicals that could have gotten in there somehow. Because with our essential oils, you guys, we recommend them for every person in our family. Doesn't matter how old somebody is, doesn't matter how young they are, it doesn't matter if they have 4 legs or 2 legs. We want to make sure that they are safe for everyone. And our oils can be used topically, aromatically, and most of them internally, which as we get going through the class, you'll understand why internal is so important. Okay, there's been a lot of different studies, you guys, and Rosemont University of Health and Sciences has done thorough testing on ours to make sure that they are what they say they are. This is a third-party company, so it's not like I'm saying, hey, I got the best chocolate chip cookies, and everybody's going, wait, I have the best cookies. No, someone else is telling us that our oils are what they say they are. Now, if you want to get extra training, you can go to training.doterra.com, and there's a bunch of different essential oil trainings that you can take for free. They're very informative, and I think if you give one of them a chance, if you're wanting to really up your game and know what it is that you've got in your hands, I highly recommend taking some of these courses. Now, there are 3 questions that are frequently asked, especially when people are getting started. So how many of you guys, or if you're watching this recording, how long have you been using essential oils? Or were there things that when you first got introduced to them, you were like, oh, they're all the same, because I hear that all the time. Oh, you know what? Essential oils are essential oils. They're all the same. Well, when I hear that, I love it because I instantly say, really? Because when you're looking at hamburgers, do you feel like you're getting the same quality and benefits from a McDonald's hamburger that you would be getting if you had a bison burger that was free ranged, right? I mean, there's going to be a huge difference in the nutrition. So that's kind of like when you're comparing our essential oils to things that you find in the gas stations or grocery stores or whatever, they are completely different. Now, when you look at the bottle on the side, they actually have the supplement facts on there, which I love because doTERRA is an open book. We want to make sure that we are educating you and that you actually know the difference and you feel confident and safe in what it is that you're using. Now, they are 100% pure, unadulterated, like we've talked about. One thing that I love for our family is because we have a history of addiction. I love that there is no risk of any kind of addiction or side effect. They are tested with our CPTG. They are plant-based. And not only are they tested, but they're the most trusted essential oil on the market. doTERRA has quickly grown to the largest essential oil company in the world. And I think a lot of times we are the standard that people are saying, oh, well, ours is just like doTERRA's. And it's like, no, it probably really isn't when you get down to the testing and making sure that you know what you've got. The other thing that's on every single bottle is if you look at the bottom of the bottle, every single one has a code, which you can go to source2you.com and put that code in, and you can see the actual testing for that bottle all the way back to the plant. And I love that we have that much information in front of us so that we can really feel confident in what we have. Now, when you look at this picture on the right-hand side, there was a grandmother who was watching her granddaughters, and she had run out of her doTERRA essential oil, her lavender. And so she just went to the cupboard because they had been in the sun, or they were going to be in the sun, and she put it on them. And you can see from the pictures where she put that, they got chemical burns. Now, this isn't something that is always going to happen, but we know that we can trust what we have in our hands, and that I've never, like in the years that I've been using doTERRA, I've never heard of somebody having a bad side effect like this. Now, when I first started with the oils, I remember going to a class, and the gal, whatever we're teaching at these classes, we are talking about doTERRA only. And somebody had said something about lavender being really great for burns and things. And so this woman had gone home, and she was making tea, and she burned her hand, and the burn got super irritated. So she's thought, oh, I'll just go get the lavender out of my cupboard. Got the lavender, put it on her hand, and she actually ended up getting an infection on the burn. And it was an off brand that she had used, and she went to the hospital, and there was all kinds of things that happened around it. And so I always really like to stress that we are not talking about all essential oils. When we hear somebody say the doctor said, don't use them, or, I actually agree with that, because if you're not educated, you could do some harm. And there's so many products out there that are just, for a bottle to be labeled 100% or 100% pure, essential oil, you guys, only 6%. That's so small of amount of pure oil is in the bottle, and the rest can be anything that they want. And they don't have to put those things on the bottle. So I love that we get educated, and we want to make sure that we are educating people on what they actually have in their hands. Okay, so safety is first. We want to make sure that we educate you guys. And so what you never want to do is put essential oils directly in your eyes, directly in your nose, or directly in your ears. That they're just potent, and the tissue there is so thin, and so it could actually cause some irritation. Now, I do know people who will take and they'll dilute it with a coconut oil or something, and they're able to put it like around the outside or the opening of their nose or around their ears, but never will you hear us say put them, drops of them in your eyes. Another really great tip is less more often. In a lot of cases, you guys, my husband would be the first one to say, if one drop is good, well, then 10 is going to be so much more effective. And that's just not the way our oils work. Yeah, 1 or 2 drops is a regular sized dose for someone. And so we would recommend, taking a little tiny bit, putting it on the area, or using it for whatever you need. And then after about 15 or 20 minutes, if you're not getting the result that you want, then you can layer and you can put a little bit more on, and it's going to be much more effective. Another thing is they are hot. How many of you guys have ever experienced an essential oil that was hot? I've been one who I love making my own hot tea, and I'll flavor just plain old hot water, and I'll put different essential oils in it. And I've put cinnamon and cassia in there before and not stirred it up really good and taken a sip, and then that oil has been floating on the top, and it's burned my lips. If you ever experience something like that, just add some coconut oil. Now, I love doTERRA's fractionated coconut oil. It's different than the solid oil that you can buy in the grocery stores and things. But what I love about it is lightweight. It will not clog your pores, and it will take that burn out almost instantly. There was a time when I had gotten some in my eye. And so I just took that coconut oil and I just kind of squirted it right on the side of my eye, and it instantly took that burn away. I have a sister who long ago she had heard to use oregano for warts. And so her son had a wart, and so she took her finger and she put it on this wart, and then she did something, and it was like 20 minutes later, she went and she rubbed her eye, and that oregano residue was still on her finger. So then she took the coconut oil and put it in her hand, rubbed her hands together and put it on. Well, the residue was still on her finger. So as she took that coconut oil, she actually got more oregano on the eye. And then it was like, oh my gosh. So finally she just squirted it in her eye and was able to get that burn away. You guys, some of the hot oils, they're all listed in the book, and you'll always be able to tell. There's cinnamon, cassia, oregano, thyme, clove, ginger. There's a few more. And so I love using them. I just want to make sure that how I'm using them is the correct way. If you ever have questions about how do I use cinnamon or what do I do with oregano, make sure you reach out to the person who invited you. Or, we've got some really great resource books where you can look them up and learn about that. So back to the coconut oil, you guys, what I love about our coconut oil is I mentioned that it doesn't clog your pores. What they do with the coconut oil is they spin it and they take the fat and the scent out. So it won't go rancid. So it makes a perfect carrier oil for anytime you're making roller bottle blends or, bath soaks or whatever. It won't clog your pores, and it's safe for anyone to be able to use. I love the fractionated coconut oil, and it's usually my number one go-to whenever I'm baking recipes or diluting something. Now, the last thing for safety that we're going to talk about is photosensitivity. So if you have a citrus oil, you need to be aware of going out in the sun. And I always teach people, you always put your citrus oils where the sun doesn't shine. Underneath your clothes is fine. So if you're going to have lime oil or something on, make sure you put it on underneath, where your shirt's going to be or under your shorts or whatever. When you put a citrus oil on your skin and then you go out into the sun, it amplifies your chance of getting burned. And so you just want to be careful of that. I know a lot of people who will put it in their water and drink it and go on hikes, and they don't have a problem at all. It's just when you actually apply it to your skin. Now, there are a few of the essential oil blends that have citrus oil in it. So make sure that you get familiar with what's in the blends. Clary Calm is one of them. So I have a niece who was getting married and she wanted to get super tan. So she was making appointments to go to sun tanning beds, and she was also cramping. So she put Clary Calm on her stomach and went into a tanning bed and came out and had burn blisters where she had rolled that Clary Calm because it has citrus oil in it. So just always get educated, you guys. Read the labels if you're not sure about something. That's why we're here to teach these classes, is so you can get educated and learn. Okay, so with doTERRA, there are 3 different ways that you can use them: aromatic, topical, and internal. Why don't you tell us in the chat, what is your favorite way to use essential oils? I would love for you guys to tell us. And if you're, been here for a while, then tell us aromatic and what's your favorite way to use them aromatic, or what's your favorite way to take them internal. So I'm going to start with aromatic. I love it because when I use oils aromatically, I can use them if I'm going into a classroom and maybe there's been illness going around. So we know that we can, whatever we're diffusing is not only benefiting me, but it's benefiting everybody that's in that area. And so whether it's a cough or a cold, or maybe you're getting ready to do some studying, or maybe, at school, you could have some for being able to focus your mind, or I love being able to just put them on my hands. I'll wear them on jewelry. I love to aromatically just put them in the hands and take a few deep breaths, especially if you are dealing with something that is traumatic. Maybe you're sad, some kind of an emotional thing. When you smell it, it actually does put that aroma up into your nose and up into your brain. And it's the only way and the only thing that can trigger certain emotions and be able to say, hey, it's going to be okay. So gosh, you guys, aromatically is awesome. Topical, so you can put them on your skin. If it's a hot oil, you can still use it. All you need to do is dilute it appropriately to make sure that it's not going to be too hot. You can put them on the bottoms of your feet if you don't like the smell. I love essential oils and I'm layering them on. And every day I have this little routine where I'll put them on my skin, under my skincare, with my skincare, in my hair. I always put them on, just depending on what's the mood that I want to create. One thing when I started with doTERRA again, I was like, okay, how do I get them to stay on and stay longer? And I know that I'll put them in the unscented lotion. And I love that doTERRA carries an unscented lotion because you can seriously create anything you want. So if you're getting ready to go camping or hiking and maybe you're worried about bugs, well, you could put something like TerraShield in there. You could put, citronella, eucalyptus, whatever, and you just add it to that lotion and then you put it all over your skin and it helps it to absorb and stay topical longer. If you have sore skin, right? Maybe you've got a little sun kiss, then you can add the Restore sun spray. And if you want to add a little bit of essential oils, maybe you want to add some helichrysum or lavender, and then you just put it on topical wherever you need it. And then my favorite way to use essential oils, you guys, is internal. Now you'll notice here it says it's not only safe, but it's recommended. There are times when from the inside, my body needs some support. So I might be able to, for instance, if I had something going on with my stomach, I have 3 different ways I can use it, right? I can just smell it. I can put it inside my mouth. I can also put it on topical. And so if I'm getting ready to go out to dinner and I know I'm going to have something that might upset my stomach, what I'll do before I go to dinner is I'll take a little bit of digestion or fennel or ginger and I'll add it to and I'll just like put it across my throat, or I'll drop it in my belly button because my belly button is a great way to get it into my system very quickly. I also, it could take a capsule. I love that we can make our own capsules. So doTERRA sells a really great veggie cap. And there's a lot of people, that carry around, they'll take the empty bottles that you get. How many of you guys have empty bottles? So they'll take an empty bottle and they'll make a blend of what they're needing. So for this case, maybe it's digestion. Maybe I'm going to put a little bit of extra fennel, maybe a little bit of ginger, and I could put that in my purse, and then I can just carry some empty gel caps and then just fill it up when I need to. I love it. There's so many really great ways to use the essential oils. Let's see. We have our Zoom user says she just loves dropping them directly into her mouth for quick, easy relief. Also, she puts some into a bath soak. She loves to cook with them, uses them on her dishes, uses them in her food for a flavor boost, using them internally and topically for sore body parts. I mean, I love that we can use them in so many different ways, right? Okay. Okay, you guys. So the second question that we always get is, are they effective? Now, this is something that I loved being able to learn about. And once I had gone the route of, my kids didn't feel good, I would take them to the doctor. Not only were they getting exposed to things in the doctor's office, sometimes we would bring back little germs and things that we didn't even go in there with. And so I really love the part about knowing that viruses live on the inside of a cell. There is a cell membrane that protects other things from getting in, like bacteria. And so it's really awesome because with essential oils, our body sees them as 100% natural, just like lemon is natural. If you take something like lemonade, you're not going to get the same benefit from it, right? And so what's great about doTERRA is the essential oils are able to go across the cell membrane and stop whatever's inside the cell in its tracks. So it will take a virus and it will stop the production of it from duplicating and get bigger and bigger and bigger. How many of you guys have gone to the doctor? You've got a prescription. you use it and you stop using it, and then about 2 days later, whatever it was you had comes back way worse, and you feel way worse, right? Well, that's because those little viruses are super sneaky. And so just like if we were take them till it's gone, you want to treat your essential oils the same way. So you want to continue to use your protocol at least 5 to 7 days after you feel good and the symptoms are all gone, because those little viruses get pretty sneaky. Now, I've got 3 of my favorite essential oils listed down here for viruses. And oregano is known as a natural antibiotic. Then we have frankincense, which is the king of all the oils. When in doubt, you get that frankincense out. People use it for so many different things. And then cinnamon bark, when you have really sneaky things and you don't feel very good, cinnamon bark is also highly antiviral, and has some really great benefits for you guys. Okay, so the third question is, are they affordable? You guys, so many times we hear, oh, I know, but that bottle costs how much? And what people don't understand is in our 15 ml bottles, there are 250 drops. And if a dose is 1 to 2 drops, that's a lot of uses, right? In the 5 mLs, there's 85 drops. So still, when you have a small bottle of oils, I want you to always remember less. Like, they're super powerful, they're very potent, and so you just don't need as much. In this picture, it shows a bunch of them, how much they are per drop. So lemon, you have 250 drops. How many lemons so if you went to the grocery store and you like putting a slice of lemon in your water, how many different lemons, what would the cost be to get that many? 250 drops, right? So the other really great thing about lemon, for instance, is our oil comes from the rind. So there's different benefits that you're going to be receiving than the fleshy part of the fruit. So when I have a scratchy throat or itchy eyes, it's a seasonal thing that comes, and this morning I woke up and my nose was all full of snot. Sorry, gross, right? All full of snot. And then it just started to drip. And I'm going, oh my gosh. And it's, flowers are blooming and it's been kind of windy. So the first thing I do is I'll take 2 drops of lemon, lavender, and peppermint, and I put them directly into my mouth. Now, it can be a little potent, right? And so sometimes people will make it into like a little shot glass. You could add a little bit of honey for flavor if you want to, but I can tell you that putting it in my mouth, it directly goes into my bloodstream and I'm getting almost instant results. And so I did that this morning. And then the runny nose stopped and I felt really great. And then about a half hour ago, I started feeling my nose is twitching a little bit. So I just went over to my oils and I did it again. And I just put those essential oils in my mouth and it was super awesome. I can tell you that the reason that I came to doTERRA is because I was suffering from debilitating allergies. I would have these things where my face would start to tingle, and within 15 minutes, I would be so swollen from my nose all the way up to my forehead that I couldn't open my eyes and you couldn't see the bridge of my nose. I would just puff right up. And so it was serious. And I had gone to so many different doctors. I had had allergy tests. I was taking shots that I had to sign a paper that I would only go once a year and get this shot. It was so powerful. Can you imagine what it was doing and what it was leaving behind in my body? Right? I mean, that's a serious thing. And I've been able to completely replace all of the over the counter and all of my prescription stuff with essential oils. Now, I want you to pay attention on the right-hand side on the bottom. So what is the cost really? So when I look at that, if it cost me 60 cents to use that blend of essential oils, I guarantee you that the pills that I were taking, just one of them, is about $3 or $4 a piece. And I was taking 4 or 5 of them at a time because it was such a scary thing for me. I mean, I don't have to worry about addiction. And it's not just a Band-Aid. Like, I'm not just, you know, putting something over the top to numb it or to make myself go to sleep. I'm actually, my body is absorbing it and getting down into the root. And the more that I have used essential oils, the less I have those types of attacks. Okay, so I love being able to just dive into some of our favorite, most used essential oils. A lot of times people will say, okay, well, what the heck? Like, how do I know what to get? Where would you start? Well, everybody's kind of different. And every person here, or if you're watching the replay, you'll notice that some of us have certain things in common, like maybe it's seasonal stuff. Some of us might have head tension that just doesn't go away. And so each one of these, you guys, you might take a screenshot of this so you'll know which one to grab. I'm going to focus on tea tree really quick. So tea tree is one of my favorite. It's the least caustic of all of the essential oils. It's super, super gentle. You can literally open it up and drip it right on an open wound and it won't sting or burn. So if you have a child or, you know, whatever's happening, maybe your husband, you know, is, or your partner is somebody who gets super sensitive when they get cuts. Well, this one is antifungal. Anything that has to do with your skin, this is my firsthand reach. So if it's everything from your scalp, maybe you've got a dry, itchy scalp, maybe you've got watering, dry eyes, by putting, if you have something going on with your eyes where they're just dripping, you know, kind of, or they're super dry, you can just touch the top of the bottle, go around the outside edge of your eye and just kind of tap it on. And the best part is, you guys, it doesn't matter. So when I was back in the day of taking all the pills for my allergies, I had to keep track of how many I was taking and how often in a day. With essential oils, I can use the same ones every 20 or 30 minutes all day long if I need to. I don't have to worry about overdosing or having too much. Back to tea tree. So if you have something going on with your mouth, all you need to do is you could take a little bit of warm water, put a drop in there, swish it around, you know, swish, 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 gargle, spit it out. Anytime you're putting essential oils in your mouth, if you're using it as a mouth rinse, the longer that you swish it around, then it's pulling things out of your cells and out of your mouth. And so if it's more than like 5 or 6 seconds, you'll want to spit it out into the drain. You won't want to swallow it because you don't want to pull it out and then swallow, right? So you guys, lemon, lavender, peppermint, digest, and we've talked about that. Breathe is one also that I want to just kind of talk about really fast. Is people would ask me often, why do you use lemon, lavender, and peppermint instead of breathe? Well, I had the itchy around the eyes. I had the itchy, scratchy throat. I had swelling. And so the lavender is a natural antihistamine, which helps with any kind of swelling or burns or irritations, where breathe is really about opening up your airways. If you've ever taken and smelled it, you know that as soon as you open it up and smell, it's like, oh, wow. And it almost forces you to breathe, but it doesn't have any of that antihistamine for the swelling and the itching. So people just kind of have to decide the difference. Now, I want to show you guys or tell you guys one of my favorite ways to use breathe, and that is to make your own natural inhaler. So I looked it up on Google and they actually showed that it is more effective. So if you take a drop of breathe and put it in your hand, or you could put peppermint or digestion, aroma touch, whatever, and you make a tube with this hand, and then you take your oil and drop it here. So you're making a tube, you're putting it on here, and I leave it a little open and then just inhale from here. And you can feel that oil go directly down into your throat, down deeper into your lungs. Now, if you just cup your hands and breathe in through here, you're still going to feel it, but you're mainly going to feel it here in your nose and up here, right? And so if you guys have a chance, try that. So I've been able to help a lot of people get off of their inhalers and because of breathe. Hey, Tammy, do you mind sharing really quick in like a minute or so your testimonial of breathe?
Sure. Excuse me. So I was raised with respiratory stuff. And with that inhaler method, I carried inhalers, rescue inhalers, got shots, all the stuff for breathing issues and seasonal issues. And anyway, now I do exactly what Hayley was doing. My gateway was this breathe inhaler. I put a drop of breathe and now I made my own, what works for me, because everybody is different. As I put a drop in there, when I start to wheeze, yeah, I just started breathing that, but testimonial for that breathe. And I do add the lemon, lavender, and peppermint because I had the same type of shots. So for seasonal stuff and respiratory things that come, the lemon, lavender, peppermint, and then the breathe and peppermint are my inhaler. And I breathe through my mouth a couple of times, and then I close my mouth and I just sniff through my nose because I used to get really bad problems with sinuses that I would have to be on medication for that. So it just helps open me up all the time. Breathe or digest sen.
So good. Thank you so much, Tammy. I love being able to, share ways that we can use them. So the last ones were kind of like that, make over your medicine cabinet, get rid of all the stuff that you use on a daily basis, cuts, burns, wounds, scrapes, that type of thing. Now these go into mind and mood. So we have a really, really great line of emotion essential oils. We actually have a full class that we talk about this. And so balance, adaptive, and serenity. And you can see all of the different things that people use them for. My gateway oil, like when Tammy said hers was breathe, mine was balance. I had so much I was just carrying around from a lot of life happening that the littlest things, like, somebody would leave the light switch on or off or something, and I would just like, it would completely put me into a tailspin. And yet when big things were happening around me, I could handle it just fine. But by doing that for year after year after year, I was just like, I couldn't control my emotions anymore. And the first time I opened up balance, I remember cracking it open and smelling it. You guys, I felt this just calmness and this, everything's going to be okay feeling. And I literally carried that bottle of essential oils in my pocket for over a year. Every time I would feel my emotions start to rise, I would open it up. And you guys, I didn't have classes. People didn't were teaching like this at that point. And I instinctively knew to put it in my hand, rub my hands together. I would smell it and I would just rub it on my chest like this. And it was amazing how it would just make me feel so good. And now we have adaptive, which is really great for, when people are just feeling that overwhelm or, like we just need to be reassured that it's okay. Now, balance and serenity, you guys, it's been 14 years and I use both of these every single day. And what I love is I can use the same oils first thing in the morning and I can use the same ones at night, and it doesn't put me to sleep, but it just calms me, and it helps me to be able to sleep better. Really, really great oils. So inflammation. So on the bottom part here, we have so many really great things that can help us because what we know is inflammation is the root of all dis-ease. And Deep Blue, the polyphenol capsules on the far left hand, it's a completely different formulation and it is meant to be as a supplement. Anytime you have something that is constant in your body, this is really great to be able to take. And like I said, it's a completely different formulation than the Deep Blue oil, the Deep Blue rub, and the Deep Blue stick. Now, everybody has a favorite. My family, they're pretty active, and this is something that we don't go without. I have a Deep Blue stick that's in my car. I have one next to my bed. I have the essential oil next by my bathtub. My husband prefers the rub. My son, who goes to the gym all the time, he has the rub that he just leaves in his gym bag. And then the Deep Blue stick is really great. They've actually partnered it with Copaiba. Copaiba also comes in a essential oil and a gel cap. You guys, this is our CBD replacement. 100%, it addresses all 4 core body systems. So for immunity, for inflammation, for stress management, and just all over wellness, this one is a super powerhouse. Okay, we can't go too much further without talking about our foundation. As much as I love essential oils, our Lifelong Vitality is the #1 selling product for an essential oil company, which kind of sounds weird, but they know that our bodies need to have proper nutrition. If you were to take and do groceries, and you guys, that $900 in order to get all the fruits and vegetables that have been freeze dried and put in these little tiny capsules, with how prices have gone up, I don't think you could probably even duplicate it for that much now, but, there's a three-part system, and we are so deficient, in so many different areas in our bodies, and I love the chart on the side. It shows, how many things you would have to replace in order to get the same benefits. So, for vitamin E, you would have to have 30 cups of almonds. I don't know about you, but I don't think I can actually eat and consume that much. For the, let's see, vitamin A, you would need to eat 50 medium-sized carrots. So all of that is put into 3 small bottles that you can take. They do a money back guarantee on this product because they believe in it so much. How many of you guys are using the Lifelong Vitality? Will you tell us in the chat and tell us one reason, maybe when we get to testimonials, that somebody can share what they've noticed with the Lifelong Vitality. Here's just another snapshot of what each one of the products are and what's in it that might stand out. One thing that I love for certain is that if you have a hard time taking supplements, we actually have our essential oils that are infused inside the supplement. So it helps with taming your tummy. So if you get an upset stomach from it, a lot of people can take these. I have a friend who's been just trying for years to get pregnant. She finally is pregnant, and this is what she's taking for her prenatal vitamin. The doctor approved it and said, gosh, it's got all kinds of really great stuff in it. So we love it. Okay, so I'm just going to give you a couple of tips. Whether you have been using essential oils or you're brand new to essential oils, consistency is key. Like you can't use these one time and go, well, I used it and it didn't work. A lot of times when I'm helping people with, I love to set them up on a 60 to 90-day program or plan where it's like, okay, we're going to start here. And our goal is to get here and we're going to be consistent. And the more consistent you are, the better results you're going to get. When I check in and if they ever say to me, gosh, it's just, I haven't noticed anything. I'm like, well, when did you use them? How often did you use it? How did you use it? Because all of those things are key. The better you develop a routine, the more effective and the better off you're going to be. I love being able to put things in my house where I'm going to use them. So right next to my bathroom sink, I have, in a drawer, I've got my On Guard toothpaste. I've also got the Super Mint toothpaste because I use one in the morning and I use one at night. I have all of my oils that I use for, putting with my skincare or if I have my sleeping ones, they're right next to my bed. In our kitchen, we have a lot. I have this little holder that has the citrus ones. Then we have a drawer in our kitchen where we would put, Band-Aids and tape and, that kind of stuff. That's where we hold our Correct X. We'll have different ones, like Terra Shield, things that really will help us. You guys, it's really important to be able to discover and use our resources. We have our Good Vibes team Facebook page that is just packed full of years and years of, oils and classes and different topics where you can go in there and you can search. Everybody that I know that I work with has the Emotion and Essential Oils book, as well as either the Modern Essentials book as a resource guide so that they can look things up no matter where they are, whether the power's out or not, they have what they need. And then of course, our most important thing is helping our friends be able to get and use essential oils and inviting them into getting them at the very best price. Um, you know, I love also teaching people how to purchase below wholesale. So anytime somebody decides to get their own wholesale account, we all buy our essential oils at the same price, which is a 25% savings off of retail. When you can, if you're interested in getting them below wholesale price, that is when we invite you to our loyalty rewards program. Now we have 2 flagship products. One is our Lifelong Vitality, which we recommend everybody get that really great foundation. And the second one is an award-winning collagen, which has 9 different types of collagen that is bioavailable, so your body can actually absorb what's in the packet. and you're going to get great results. When you buy either one of those things, a little menu will drop down and it gives you the option to buy up to 3 additional products, which is shown below, at higher discount than wholesale. And so some of them are up to 45% off. And I love that doTERRA gives that to us. And they do that because they want us to be able to get what we need for our households, and they know that it can be a little bit expensive. Now, the other thing is to be able to purchase using loyalty rewards. You'll hear a lot of people refer to it as LRP. So here's a chart that shows you the different benefits. If you have an order that's at least 100 PV, you'll see that you're not only saving the 25% back, but you're earning points anywhere from 10 to 30%. At the beginning for the first 3 months, it's 10%, and it goes all the way up to 30% after 13 months. You can also qualify for free shipping, and you can earn an income. When I first got introduced to doTERRA, I was like, I am not interested in sharing. I'm not going to teach it. I'm not going to talk about, I will talk about it because I loved it, but I didn't want anything else to do with it. Well, after about 6 months, I was telling so many of my friends, and I started getting these little checks. Anyway, it's really cool. And there's definitely a way that you can earn an income just by sharing what you love. We also have a referral program where if you're going, I'm not doing the business, I just want to be able to use my oils. And there are some people who are going, I don't even want, like, I want to just be able to share, what I love. And so we have a referral program. Make sure that you reach out to the person who invited you here and learn all the different ways that you could get your oils for free. All right, so you guys, I want to take just a moment and say thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you for joining us. Thank you for spending the time and empowering yourself and getting that knowledge and information. It's so strange after 14 years of doing this and having all the different classes. I love teaching. I love empowering people to go and know what they have in their hands, not just, setting their stuff in a box somewhere or in a drawer, letting it get dusty, but actually getting it out and knowing how to use it. We have a lot of great ways that you can stay connected to us. You can take a picture of the QR code, and that will pretty much lead you to everything that we have. You can also get a text reminder. So 15 to 30 minutes before class starts, if you text the word class reminders to 534-429-5392, you'll automatically get the reminder and the link to join us live. On Wednesdays, we also include both links to the recording. So it's at your fingertip where you can go in and you can share it and learn more. Next week is daily vitality and nutrition and supplements. So I hope that you guys will put that in your calendar. One thing I do on my phone is I just go to Monday night and I copy the Zoom link and I put it in there, and I have a reminder come to me 30 minutes before, and then one at the time that it starts, because I'm that person who might get distracted and miss class because I had one person ask me a question 3 minutes before class started. So it's my favorite way to remind myself. Okay, so I would love if anybody has a question, testimonial, something that they would like to share as far as getting started. Maybe Sarah, can you tell us how you got started with doTERRA?
Yeah, if Levi was in here, he could tell you how he got started. We actually, he's our youngest, he's our second. He was 7.5 months old and still had colic and was crying and crying and crying. They did a monitor on him because they couldn't figure out what was wrong with him. They knew it was gut, but they didn't know what was going on. And you guys, he wasn't sleeping more than, the total, I just found it in his baby book, but the total wasn't more than like 4 hours a night, 4 hours a day in 24 hours. And so it was rough, right? And so I went in to see a friend and I said, you got to help me. And all he was just screaming the whole appointment. And she said, try this. It's digestin. You're going to put it on his belly clockwise, and you're going to put it on his foot where the colon sits. So I put it on both feet, and he's, tiny, and he slept all night. And we woke up and Luke said, whatever that witchcraft is, you need to go buy it. So now we know it's not witchcraft, but it was the best time ever because that's where our kit started. And that's where our journey started, was with Levi. And Levi, actually, that was the journey for him with his gut. And still to this day, that's one of his favorite oils.
So awesome. What a blessing, right? I think every day, as a matter of fact, I'm in this challenge and I said to the gal, I said, if I came to your house and took all your oils, you would probably be a little upset, right? And she was like, I wouldn't let you out of the house because we get so accustomed to using them for so many different things that, even when it comes to over the counter stuff, people will say, do you have something that will replace fill in the blank? And I'm like, I don't even know what that is. Like, you're gonna have to tell me what the symptoms are or what it is that you're trying to solve. What issue are you trying to solve? And then I can definitely come up with essential oils that can help. But can you imagine, Sarah, not having them around?
Oh, absolutely not. So it's kind of funny. We were just talking about it last night after we taught Monday's class, and Luke said, I really should have shared that one story on Lifeline Vitality because he kind of froze when I put him on the spot. But you guys, he quit taking it for 30 days because he said, I think it's a placebo effect. He had this in his head. This was 2 years ago. Quit taking it. He clocked it for 30 days. And I physically, he was a welder, looked over and he was having to roll out of bed one morning. I go, what's wrong with you? And he said, I hurt so freaking bad. He said, my knees, everything is like it's coming back for me. And I go, huh. So he started taking Lifeline Vitality 2 days later, probably, and he has never stopped. He goes, I will never, ever do that to myself again. And he gets mad at me if I have like 10 sachets, left. And I go, it's coming. It's on our LRP. But it's a thing. We would not go anywhere without it. I've had people ask me, do you really use it or are you just saying you use it? And so I challenge people, come into my house, come in, tell me what you see on my counters, come in and see what you see in the boys' rooms. You will see nothing toxic in this house. I freaking promise you.
Yeah, it's definitely a great way of life. And we just become so accustomed to it that sometimes I think what happens also is people will, if it's a digestive issue, then they'll start using it for a little while. Then that digestive issue is gone. So just like Luke, it's like, oh, I don't need it anymore. And then it's like 4 or 5 days, 10 days later, it's like, wait, it's back. We forget where we were when we started. And then we just, anyway, it's so nice to be able to have that clear mind. I remember when I was challenged to take Lifelong Vitality. So when I started, my husband and I had supplements that had been created for us according to our blood and all this kind of stuff. Keep in mind, I was a bucket full of mess and I couldn't stop crying, and I was in bed more than I was out of bed in a month. But I was taking these really good vitamins. And so we had, like 6 months of them. And the person told me, she said, I challenge you to just set those aside for 1 month. Try the Lifelong Vitality. And at the end of that, if you don't feel better, then you go back on them, because you can turn them in and get your money back. And so I was like, okay, yeah, I can do that. At the end of the 30 days, you guys, I didn't know what I was going to do with that 6 months worth of stuff that wasn't doing anything because I felt so much better. I said to my husband, I go, you're going to think I'm crazy, but I feel like this light has come on. And it seemed like the longer that I used them, the better that I felt. As a matter of fact, I used to have where my legs would ache, my knees would hurt really bad, and my ankles would ache. And I would be that person, pacing at the movie theater, and I'd have my legs up on the dash, and I'd have to have my husband stop so I could walk around the car for a few minutes. You guys, I don't even know when that left, but it's just gone. And I'm so grateful. And I think we could probably just go on and on and on and on about, stories and when we got started. And, and somebody said, well, if you had to choose one, would you choose oils or the Lifelong Vitality? And I was like, gosh, it's so hard because I use them for so many things. And just like Sarah, you guys come to my house. We do gatherings once a year where we do a tour. And we show how we're using them in the bedrooms, the bathrooms, under the counters. I don't have to worry if kids come over and get underneath my counters because I don't have anything poisonous, and my dogs and, well, anyway, that's another thing. But it's just like, I'm just so grateful. Okay. Is there anybody else who would like to share a testimonial or share, or does anybody have a question that they would like to ask?
Do you care if I share Jeremiah's real fast?
Sure.
So Hayley knows this one, and he only shared it with Hayley actually at the beginning, and now he's telling everybody. So we did a Blue Tansy Melissa challenge, and you guys, if you haven't looked into it, I want you to get on Good Vibes and go search it. Use the search bar and go search it because it's absolutely amazing. And so we did this Blue Tansy Melissa challenge, and I was helping Hayley run it. So I was like, yeah, everyone's going to do it. Everyone in this family is going to do it. So I started putting Melissa on one of their big toes and Blue Tansy on their other big toe. And we would take pictures, me and the boys, every single day. And we're talking, I think, Haley, I can't remember what I told you, but I think it was like 20 days in. And Jeremiah, you guys, he's my oldest. He sometimes gets in this really dark hole and he's super cranky and it's an all day thing. And bipolar runs on both sides of Luke's family, so mom and dad. And so I already know that there's something going to be there. And he said, this is no joke, Mom, we can never stop that white oil because the cap and the bottle are white. And I said, that's Melissa. And he said, we can never stop. He said, I feel so good and I'm so happy and I'm so much nicer. So this works. And he's 9 years old and he knew right away emotionally that it was taking him leaps and bounds. And then, of course, Levi swears that Blue Tansy helped him get second at state in wrestling. So because of the energy that it gave him, it just gave him this natural energy and he was focused. So really look into it because the emotional
Oops, she just muted Sarah.
is more than just an oil. It's not just a bottle of oil. It's emotional. It's leaps and bounds.
Sometimes I wonder, it's like, what would my life be without it? Without all of the different things that we've been doing. And, because when I started learning about DDR prime, just like Sarah's going, okay, on both sides of this family, we have a certain thing. Well, in our family, people forget who they are on both sides of my family, my mom and my dad. And so it was kind of a joke with our family. The kids would say, oh, I said, just check me into the spa. I'll just check me into the spa and I'll be fine. And now I'm like, no, there's no spa because I take DDR prime every morning and I take it every night to help with a healthy mind. And there's often times when I said at the very beginning of class, there's reasons that I love being able to take our essential oils internally because I'll put it on my thumb, frankincense, DDR prime, whatever, and I'll put it in the roof of my mouth. That is something that is able to go in and cross that blood-brain barrier and give my brain support, there's so many different things. So okay, back to another thing I love teaching about is the plants and the natural part. So when I said that our body sees essential oils as something that's natural, that is okay to absorb and take, well, why is that so important is because when you take something like, okay, here it is, lavender. Would you take a Glade lavender plug in the wall and use it for allergies? Holy cow. Can you only imagine the poisonous and all the things that would happen? Your body for sure would erupt, right? If you got it in your mouth, it would probably let it go really quick. And so being able to put them internally in our mouths where we can absorb them and have a result instantly is really important. When I had those allergy attacks, when my eyes would swell and stuff, well, I was also worried about my throat closing. By the time I would take a over the counter and swallow it, how long do you think it took before it would open up in my body and my body was able to actually benefit from it? Well, 20 minutes later is too late. Right? Which is about how long it takes for something to break down into your body and be able to absorb it. With the essential oil, the moment that I put it in my mouth, it's going into my cells and instantly I'm getting some results. So now, guess what? I carry essential oils with me everywhere I go. I always have them with me. And I can tell you for certain that if any one of you guys were to be walking into me down the street and I could look at you and I could say, oh, I've got an oil. Like, I don't know if I've got the right one, but I've got one that's going to help. So last story is I was in an event and we were, there was a bunch of people, like there are people all over the place. And I was across the street from somebody getting ready to cross the street. We were waiting for the light to change. Well, the lady on the other side of the street fell to the ground and you could tell she was having a hard time breathing. You guys, I was like, okay, I've got oils. And I didn't know her. I didn't know anything about her. So I didn't go over and just start dumping oils on her. But what I did do is I said, is it all right if I just put them on my hand and hold my hands over her face or her nose and she'll naturally breathe them in? You guys, I had digestion and she was able to smell that mint in the digestion. And it was not only able to help her catch her breath and she was able to start breathing, but it also calmed her down. Because I mean, and it was such a holy cow. And that's why I keep them with me all the time, because I may not have the right one, right? Because I would have probably used Breathe or AirX or something else. And you know what? I knew enough to go mint, get it out, get it to where she can, it'll open up her airways. And it was so awesome, and of course, people are like, what is that? And it's a great way for me to be able to start talking about it because, I don't know, when I did start talking about essential oils, I wanted to be able to know. And when at the beginning, it was, I don't care why they work. I just care that they work. And then it got to the point where it was like, no, I actually really want to know now why they work. Like what makes peppermint peppermint? And so, gosh, I still study all the time. And there's so much fun, right? To be able to learn. Sarah?
Last story. I know we're short on time, but I know this will speak volumes to everybody here. So I was at a consult and I had my oils and I try to carry the top 10 and I was at a consult and she was giving 2 foot detoxes to two gals there. And she always gives them pineapple water. I don't know where she gets it or what she does, but anyway, she was giving it to this gal. She'd never done a foot detox. And I look over after I'm talking to this gal who owns the foot detox business, and this gal in the chair is red, 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 and all the way down her chest. And she's like, my throat is super, super tight, and my tongue feels like it's so swollen. She goes, I think I'm having an allergic reaction to your water. And this young girl who's running this, she panics. She's like, I don't have anything. I don't have any Benadryl. Let me go look. So she runs out to the living room, and I said, I know you're going to think I'm crazy because you've been listening to me talk, but would you be open to me giving you some essential oils? And she said, absolutely. She said, at this point, I don't care. I'm having a hard time breathing. And so I dropped 4 drops of lavender underneath her tongue, had her take some plain water, a drink of plain water, and then I counted to 30 and then I did it again. And by the time the gal came back, so I'm going to say maybe 5 minutes, maybe, the red was dissipating, completely gone. She said she could finally swallow, and she heard the hives. She said she had hives on the roof of her mouth. She's like, I feel I can breathe. I can breathe. So we did another thing in about, it wasn't very long, probably a minute, and we did it again and it was completely gone. But the gal was just, she was amazed. So what I'm saying is you do have the solutions right with you. Just make sure that you carry them. I'm very grateful I had lavender because that was the right one to do. I would have gone to peppermint if not. But you do have solutions. So make sure that you guys are sharing it because this is something that could be powerful to help someone that you love.
That's why we do these classes, you guys, is so you can hear testimonials, you can learn and ask questions, and there's so many different things that we can do. Okay, I don't know who Galaxy Tab is, but you can go ahead and unmute. Oh, I think we can barely hear you, Betty.
Okay, let me bring my volume up. Maybe that'll work.
There you go.
I have a
Whoops, now we can't hear you again.
yeah. Can you hear me at all?
Yes.
Okay, I have a quick question. I have a blister like popped up. I think I got something in it years ago, and now I can't. It's popped ready to like